In our top story, the U.S. military has deployed a third aircraft carrier, the USS George H.W. Bush, to West Asia. This buildup comes amid a fragile ceasefire as both sides enforce competing blockades in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran claims that it has received its first revenue from the tolls imposed on Strait of Hormuz. Deputy Parliament Speaker Hamid Reza Haji Babei said that Iran received its first revenue from tolls it is imposing on ships seeking to cross Hormuz. Now, reports have claimed that Iran is asking payments of $2 million for safe passage of ships, raising fears over the formation of Tehran's toll booth. Iran has vowed it would keep the strait closed to all but a trickle of approved vessels for as long as the U.S. Navy blockades its ports, brushing off demands from Trump to both reopen Hormuz and surrender its enriched uranium. This comes as President Donald Trump has said that the U.S. is in no rush to end the war with Iran, but the clock is ticking. Now, talking to reporters at the White House, Trump declined to give a timeline for resolving the war. He also claimed that the U.S. has control of the strait.
We have total control of the strait. And the fact that it's closed, they would have opened it up 3 days ago. They came to us and they said, we will agree to open the strait. And all my people were happy. Everybody was happy except me. I said, wait a minute, if we open the strait, that means they're going to make $500 million a day. I don't want them to make $500 million a day until they settle this thing. So I'm the one that kept it closed. We have total control of it.
Now, Trump ruled out the use of nuclear weapon against Iran. The U.S. president also blamed the lack of clear leadership in Tehran for holding up talks. Listen to this.
Part of the problem is that, that's why I can't really answer your question. They have all new leadership and they're fighting like cats and dogs for who's going to control. Because we've created a real mess for them, but they've created a mess for the world over the last 47 years. They've killed a lot of our people.
And responding to remarks from Trump suggesting that Iranian leadership was seriously fractured, Iranian president, parliament speaker, and chief justice all posted a nearly identical message on social media. The message said that there are no hardliners or moderates in Iran, ending with a message of, I'm quoting, one God, one nation, one leader, and one path. Meanwhile, the U.S. aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush has arrived in West Asia, bringing the number of American warships operating in the region to 3. A second carrier was deployed in the Red Sea on Thursday, while a third is also active in the region. This is according to social media posts by U.S. Central Command. Now, both sides have escalated competing blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. forces have now redirected 33 vessels as part of the blockade. They also boarded a stateless oil tanker in Indian Ocean, which the Pentagon claims was carrying Iranian crude. The operation came hours after Iran seized 2 container ships. Reports indicate that Iran used swarms of small fast boats to carry out the seizures. Now, shipping experts say these fast attack craft are part of a layered threat system backed by shore-based missile drones, naval mines, and electronic warfare. Another major concern are the mines placed along the critical shipping lane. An Axios report citing sources say Iran's Revolutionary Guards have deployed additional mines in the Strait of Hormuz this week. This comes after President Donald Trump ordered the U.S. Navy to destroy any vessel caught laying mines in the vital waterway. All right, for more on this, we're now being joined on the broadcast by Dr. Hamid Reza Gholamzadeh, Secretary General of the Asian Mayors Forum from Tehran. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, Doctor. I'd like to begin with the situation in Iran. There were reports earlier that Iran activated its air defense, and this has multiple blasts reported over the capital. If you could just give us an idea or understand the current situation in Tehran as of now.
For the past 2 weeks during the ceasefire, Iranian air defense systems have been tested routinely. Last night was no exception to that. However, there were some rumors, not confirmed news, that there were some drones over the Iranian Tehran sky. So we don't have any confirmed information about that, but it seems that whether it was a test fire or it was against some drones, which is possible to be spying over the Iranian side.
Also, let's come to President Trump, who has now said that he is in no rush to end the war with Iran, but the clock is ticking for Iran. How is Iran looking at these comments?
Unlike what President Trump says, the side that asked for ceasefire and asked for negotiations was the American side, not the Iranian side. So Iran is not in any rush to whether open the Strait of Hormuz or end fire and war and fire and to do any negotiations. Iran has a clear agenda and wants its own sovereignty, wants its own security, and says that I have been threatened with war for so many years, and now I have war. I would like to fight to its end, to stop this situation of attacking ceasefire. So for that reason, Iran is demanding its request and its whatever it wants, like, for example, removal of the sanctions or removal of the American military forces from the region, or its right to recognition of its right to enrich uranium. And all these things are things that Iran had in negotiating with the Americans and with the Europeans for the past 3 decades. And they failed to actually provide Iran with what it had the right to. So now on the battleground, with an upper hand in the battleground, Iran is asking for such things without any actually give-ups to the American demands, which are very excessive and it's not unacceptable to the Iranian side.